Well, a game that needs little introduction. Devon's two biggest sides, where more than just points are at stake. Argyle and Exeter City, for the 115th time, do battle tonight. Both Argyle and Exeter come into this evening's game off the back of defeats and are looking to create a little bit of a gap between themselves and the bottom four. St James Park is the setting for the latest edition of the Devon Derby, and for many on show tonight, it'll be their first experience of this historic rivalry. From its humble beginnings as a Southern League fixture back at the start of the 20th century, over 115 years of contests. Tonight we have our latest instalment. Hello, good evening, I am Charlie Price. This is the pre-match show on Argyle TV from Matchday Live, and it is a massive evening of football ahead of us today. And you know what they say, derby days, form always goes out the window. And I'm pretty sure the supporters of both sides will be hoping that that is the case today, as neither have been particularly strong of late. We've got all the team news and build-up to come. If you haven't already got your match pass, go and get it now. You can find them online. And remember, if you're an Argyle TV subscriber, whether that be a UK pass or internationally, you get the game as part of your pass. So if you're not already subscribed, you've got time to do that still to get this game and all the others throughout the season. Let's get to it then. I am joined by someone who has played in their fair share of Devon derbies across the years. It is, of course, former Argyle captain Katie Middleton. You almost don't need to have this pre-match show for this game, do you? The game speaks for itself.
Yeah, everyone knows what it's about already, don't they? I was going to say it's that one you look forward to, but sometimes I think, do we look forward to them or do we not? So, yeah, like you said, neither team's form has been fantastic, but it's a big one, and Thursday night under the lights at St James's Park, and it's going to obviously be a sellout there. So. Looking forward to the game starting and getting underway to see what it's all about. Yeah,
it is an interesting one because, both sides losing on the weekend, neither side having the start to the season which they would have liked. They're locked on 13 points apiece and straddling the bottom four, the drop line. So it actually does mean a lot. I know it's still early in the season, but just to kind of even kickstart the season, this would be the fixture to do it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think, we've had disappointing results recently, obviously, here at Home Park. A couple of good results on the road. It's like the form for us has kind of flipped from where we were at last season. So, I think it's a massive game tonight in terms of, like you say, trying to give everyone a bit of a lift. And we've had the odd game here and there where you think, all right, maybe this is the point now where we go and kick on. You look at the Burton away game and you think, right, we've won on the road. It's a comfortable victory. Let's go back to Home Park and consolidate that. And then, you come and get a poor result here. So, that it's been able to string results together, that consistency, which has been massively lacking so far this season. So, hopefully, as we say tonight, just gives us that little bit of a boost again. And we've got a lot of away fixtures coming up, so maybe that takes the pressure off a little bit in terms of having to do something here at Home Park. And does it mean it just lifts that little bit of pressure and you can go and play with a bit of freedom. Yeah,
we just saw pictures of St James Park filling up there. The atmosphere will be absolutely cracking later on, I'm sure. But like you were saying, maybe it just gives Argyle a little bit of a boost that they are playing away, considering the way, and I'd never thought I'd say that, but the way in which the home versus away form has gone, certainly over the last 2 months.
Yeah, definitely. And, again, is it a case of you're going away and I guess the expectation is often on the home side to go out and attack a little bit more, and, you can sort of allow yourself to sit back in a little bit, soak up a bit of pressure, try and play on the counter-attack. Exeter are a team who, although they will probably be quite direct, can get the ball down, like to keep possession when they can. And that might suit us tonight in terms of, can we soak up a little bit of pressure? Can we use our attacking threats on the counter-attack and see where we're at? But like you say, the atmosphere there will be absolutely bouncing. So, it's going to be a good contest either way.
Absolutely will. Let's have a look at the all-important team news, and we'll start with Argyle. First taste of the derby for so many of these players and staff. Of course, Tom Cleverley no stranger playing in big games, but he was speaking in the week about everyone having its own merit. Here's the team that he has selected. It has thrown up 4 changes in total from the side that lost to AFC Wimbledon on the weekend. Brendan Galloway comes back in, as does Matty Sorinola. Bim Peppel gets his first start since the defeat against Lincoln back in August, and there is a first league start of the season for Jamie Patterson. Owen Dale back involved. He's on the bench. Cornell Such on the bench as well, which is good news. Biggest talking point, Joe Edwards making his 250th appearance, keeping his spot in the side for this evening's game. And I suppose Law McCabe not being involved, Jamie Patterson coming in for his first start. Katie, they're the areas you're looking at in terms of discussion?
Yeah, and I think, this game potentially could be won in that midfield area tonight. I think that's where probably Exeter's sort of strength and depth is in those midfield areas. So, it'd be interesting to see maybe how they set up. I think we've kind of thought maybe that Ibrahim will sit a little bit deeper. Patterson will play in behind, Peppel and Talai. But I think that is going to be a key area tonight if we can get on top in the midfield. I think maybe on Saturday we probably got outplayed a little bit in the midfield, and that's what eventually won Wimbledon the game. So, interesting from that perspective. And obviously, fantastic for Joe Edwards to get his 250th game for Argyle in such a big occasion.
Never scored a derby goal, so I'm sure he'll be wanting to do that today.
Tonight's the night.
Tonight's the night, Joe, if you're listening. That midfield area, but also the creativity, I suppose. Our last couple of goals have been scored by Laurent Talai. He looks the most dangerous player to score. It's his birthday today, by the way, 24 years of age. But it'll be about trying to get the ball to him as much as possible, I imagine.
To him, but in dangerous areas. I think sometimes we ask a lot of him, and I think the expectation is there maybe because of what we've seen so far from him in terms of goals so far this season. He's a fantastic finisher.
Yeah.
And you get him into areas like this where you see it now, and you think, I'd put my money on him scoring goals. So
you feel so confident.
Yeah, and it's the same on Saturday. He runs through, and you think, I've got full confidence that he's going to score. So we know he's got the quality, but it's making sure we get him in the right areas of the pitch. Picking the ball up, running towards goal, making defenders back away from him. That's when he's dangerous. And if you can get him on the last line, pulling off the defenders like he did on Saturday, then you've got every chance that you're going to get goals. But the supply, the service to him has got to be better than it's been in recent weeks. Yeah.
Let's have a look at the Exeter City side as well then, just to get both starting 11s. There it is on screen. Just the one change actually made by Gary Caldwell for today's game. That sees Akil Higgins come in for their top scorer, Josh McGuinness, who drops to the bench. Potentially a bit of a change in formation as well, with Higgins maybe kind of being in behind Wareham, the main striker through the middle. Piers Sweeney is the only player, the captain, to have played in a Devon derby before, making his 401st appearance for Exeter City today, so lots of experience there. The ones to look out for probably would be the likes of Niskanen and Andrew on either flank supplying crosses. Wareham's got a couple of goals since arriving from Reading in the summer as well. And Reece Cole, you don't want to give him too many opportunities to shoot from the edge of the box. So there are dangers in there, Katie. But Josh McGuinness to the bench, a surprise at all?
I think so. In a game like this where you drop your top scorer to the bench, in a side where you've potentially struggled for goals already, this season, I think it's a big call. Again, has he done that to try and make life more difficult for us in terms of, not having two up on the top line? You pack your midfield, you make it more difficult to play through. has he done it because of their strengths, or has he done it to try and counteract us? That'll be the thing to look at, I guess. But yeah, I think a bit of a shock that he's not starting for sure.
He's also a physical presence, Josh McGuinness. He's vastly experienced, an international footballer with Northern Ireland. And you saw how Omar Bagil played against Argyle on Saturday, the way he he basically won every ball that was played up towards him. McGuinness probably would have been that type of player. We're looking through his goals now. You'll see a load of them are getting in the right area with his head, being physical. I wonder whether the Argyle defenders may be slightly happier he's not playing because of that.
Yeah, they may well be. And I think, again, you look at the way Exeter have played so far this season, they're right up there in stats in terms of long balls. And you think, he's probably a key part of that in terms of, as you say, being able to hold the ball up and, drag other players into it. And, if they're missing that, does that mean they potentially change the way they play? Will we see them play less long balls? We will see them play, through the thirds a little bit more and keep the ball down on the floor. It's been windy today, whether that plays into the thoughts as well, in terms of trying to get the ball on the floor and keep control of it, and take the sting out of the game, I guess, a little bit that way. But yeah, interesting to kind of try and figure out what Gary Caldwell's thinking about tonight in terms of personnel he's gone for.
Well, we'll hear from him in just a minute, but we'll get the thoughts of Tom Cleverley first. I sat down with him in the studio on Tuesday to kind of talk about how he is hoping this game might be that springboard to start the season. Gaffer, Devon derby, Wayne top. What do you know of the history of this fixture, or the importance of it, I suppose?
Yeah, huge importance. It's you get some people who would think it's just 3 more points and this and that, and try and play it down, but there's no hiding from the importance of the fixture for our current run of results, for regaining a spark and momentum into our season, and for local bragging rights. It's a really important fixture for us. We need to react from Saturday's defeat, which after taking the lead was a really disappointing one. And yeah, it's for me, I don't like to compare derbies to one another because they are unique to those two cities, or those single city derbies to that city, and they come with their own sort of unique little things that are special to those people and fan bases. So until I've experienced one, I can't comment too much, but I understand the importance of it for sure.
The disappointment was clear on Saturday. However, we mustn't, I suppose, forget the fact that the last 2 away matches have yielded 6 points, and this is an away match we're going into. So there must be a little bit of confidence around that as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think 2 real strong away performances showed good mentality, good character. So yeah, we need to continue on that road, because we start with our biggest one of them all on Thursday, but then we go on the road for a long time. So building that confidence away from home is really important for the next part of our season. And then in a few weeks, of course, we need to visit the home form, because yeah, you can't mount a sustainable challenge on the league if your home form is hit and miss. So first things first, Thursday, let's carry on the confidence from Luton and Burton, and put out the best version of ourselves.
I need to improve my wardrobe, I think. Same top worn a couple of days ago as I am today. But anyway, that's by the by. Tom Cleverley speaking there. And it is interesting he says that about the derby. He's played in Manchester United, Man City games. He's played in Everton, Liverpool games. He's played in and managed in Watford, Luton games, like big matches. He's played for England against Scotland. But he doesn't want to necessarily draw on those experiences, because it is a different game. It's a different set of teams. It's a different set of players. And I think that's probably quite a good way of thinking about it, because he doesn't know. Really. Yeah,
exactly that. And I think, the fact that he doesn't just see it as another game, I think that's massively important. And, I guess to a lot of these players on both sides, they won't necessarily understand what a Devon derby is either. Whereas to the fans, it's very much, this is one of the first games that you look at when the fixtures come out. When are we playing Exeter? But I think it's good that, like you say, he's not necessarily looking at it as, this is the same as Man United playing Man City. It's unique to us down here in the southwest, and hopefully he gets a real good taste of what it's all about tonight.
What is the sweet spot, do you think, on sort of getting emotions flowing in a dressing room? And we'll hear a little snippet from it at half time. We did an Argyle Fives episode when Nance was talking about the last time that Argyle and City played each other, and Adam Randall and Michael Cooper got up in the change room and spoke to the players about what it means, because there weren't many in the squad then that had played in one. But what is that sort of balance between doing that and getting people ramped up, but also not getting too carried away in the fact that it's a derby, we've got to be flying into tackles and
yeah, I think it's hard. I don't even know how you would necessarily sort of say this is how much you do of either thing, but like you say, you want the players to understand what it's all about, and that will have happened during the week anyway. All of the talk around the town is obviously about what's happening tonight away at Exeter, and then I guess it's up to the likes of your Joe Edwards to step in and say this is what it's all about, and Nance has obviously been there, done it millions of times before, so those people are really important in terms of bigging up the game in terms of what it means to the fans. But like you say, you don't want to get carried away, because the opening 2 minutes you fly into attack, you get sent off, something silly like that. So it's about finding that balance, which I think is a difficult thing to do sometimes, and you've got to try and sort of rein that in a little bit once you get out onto the pitch.
Might it be the side that probably just understands that the most, that maybe wins the game?
Quite probably, yeah. And I guess who can control the emotions around the game, yeah. I think whoever does that better will probably come out on top, but I think that's also going about winning your individual battles, and if you can do that in the majority of positions across the pitch, then generally speaking you come out on top. So we've got to go in there tonight with that little bit between your teeth and that fight to really want to try and win the ball back early and cause them problems, and hopefully we're able to do that.
Absolutely. Well, Gary Caldwell has experienced Devon Derby on a couple of occasions. It was just his second game in charge of Exeter City when he came to Home Park just over 3 years ago. His side haven't won at home since a 3-0 victory back in August against Blackpool. He is hoping again, like Tom Cleverley, that today could be the day that fortunes change.
Highly anticipated match for the supporters and the players. What are your thoughts ahead of the game?
Yeah, really excited. Having been part of two in my management career here, they were big games, special games, games where I thought we were excellent in terms of how we performed, but didn't take anything from the games. So that's something we have to put right on Thursday night. It's a game that winning is everything. The performance is important, and it's important we have a clarity on how we're going to win. But the game is all about winning for our supporters, for our city, and making sure that we give our supporters a really special night and memories that can last forever.
Players will be backed by a sold-out St James Park, match live on Sky Sports Main Event. It's very important that everyone witnesses the very best of Devon football and what we have to offer as well.
Yeah, I think it is. I think of the two games I've been a part of, I thought they were excellent in terms of the supporters, what went on in the games. I think we need rivalry, I think we need passion, but we can't overstep that, and we have to make sure that the behaviour in the technical area, on the pitch and the stands is at the very best, and to show the very best of Devon and football in Devon. It's live on Sky, and I'm sure both sets of supporters will do that.
What role can the home fans have to help get the players over the line on Thursday?
Loads. They know how big a night game at SGP is. They know what they bring to the team. They can give them a yard, an extra bit of confidence, an extra bit of quality. The big bank can suck the ball into the net there when it's in full voice. So yeah, they have a huge part to play. I know they've done the usual in terms of raising money to get presentations on before the game and different things. So I'm delighted they've done that again. They have an opportunity, like I said, to show live on Sky
what this club is all about and what the supporters stands for, and yeah, the very best of what we are. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I'm looking forward to seeing a team in the park that can represent them in a really positive way.
Gary Caldwell hoping that the atmosphere at St James Park can maybe get them going. He's been there for quite a long time. Katie, as I mentioned, came in that 22-23 season, sort of kept them around the sort of lower mid-table in League One, and I mentioned that they haven't won, certainly at home, for such a long time. They got a 1-0 win away to Lincoln a couple of weekends ago, but they don't get battered by teams. They've only lost by, well, 2-0 is their biggest loss this season. They've lost 6 games by 1 goal. They tend to be tight, which you could probably expect again tonight, maybe.
Yeah, I think it will be tight tonight, but I think they don't score that many. Yeah. They don't concede that many. I think a lot of that you've got to give credit to the keeper. Yeah, I think he's been unbelievable in some games for them this season and probably kept score lines down when games have maybe been slightly more one-sided than maybe score lines suggest. So there have been a couple of games this season where Exeter have been fairly poor, but still only lost by 1 or 2 goals. So it's about, for me, Argyle capitalising on moments in the game tonight, and I think that's probably what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to just 1 or 2 moments in the game. That, again, it will depend who takes those moments better in terms of who comes out on top.
Yeah, and those moments tend to be remembered forever, don't they? In these games, you think of Ian Stonebridge's header at the Big Bank in 2001, Marino Keith scoring 2 here, Graham Carey, Garita bowing, Ryan Hardy's brace a couple of seasons ago. They get remembered, these. That's probably one of the messages to the players, is it? Like, if you do well in this game, you will forever be remembered.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that Joe Edwards said in the build-up as well. It's about being part of those memories. I think for me, you even look at the last time we played at St James's. Matt Butcher's goal is terrible, but everyone remembers the goal, don't they? It's there.
And they remember it was him.
Yeah. It comes off, I think, as Will Amoson's knee in the end to go past the keeper. But people know that Matt Butcher scored that in that game because it's a big moment in the season. Yeah. So hopefully, again, we get a couple of those moments this evening and people will remember the goal scorers for a long time to come.
Who will be that Matt Butcher, Ryan Hardy, Kevin Hodges of this team? Well, we're about to find out. If you haven't got your match passes, go and get them right now. They're on our website, pafc.co.uk. And remember, subscribe to Argyle TV and you get these matches anyway. If you're an international viewer, you get to watch the game, every single one. And if you are in the UK, you get to listen to them as part of your package. Right, Rob McNichol and Chris Hargreaves are in position at St James Park right now, ready to guide you through the game. The 115th Devon Derby is up next.
There's more than just 3 points on the line.
Urge to shoot. Hits it well!